Hey guys, so I wanted to make a little bit of a different video today, so I figured we could break down the king himself, Sukuna's curse technique. This is definitely one of those things that have been debated about for a while in the community, but as of chapter 260, Gege has given us more information about Sukuna's shrine abilities. This isn't a power scaling video or anything like that, I simply want to break down what each part of shrine does and how Sukuna has been able to use it, as well as his mysterious black box. Think of this as a sequel to my Ooey Ooey video, just a simple explanation for people like me who just want to know what the f is going on. So, something we need to talk about, unfortunately, is that JJK is infamous for having one of the worst translations for official releases for an ongoing popular manga, and that's mostly due to JJK's current translator, John Weary, as his translations have given and taken away from many of the aspects of Sukuna's abilities, one of the most egregious being Sukuna's Malevolent Shrine. While that is what we have all been calling it as a community and generally accepted now, Sukuna's curse technique should actually be something closer to Malevolent Kitchen. Something that, if we accepted earlier on, would have saved hundreds of hours of theory crafting in regards to Sukuna's abilities, and in the context of this video actually helps explain things further. We can also think of Shrine being the name of Sukuna's complete technique, while he's able to use subsets of it in different ways. So on the outside, this is a pretty simple thing. This is a slashing attack that can adjust itself depending on the target's toughness and curse energy output. Sukuna mostly uses this technique to cut down his enemies in one fell swoop. One of the disadvantages of this would be that unless actively inside Sukuna's domain, the king must make contact with the target in order to activate Cleave. We've seen Sukuna use Cleave in a bunch of different ways. He has a couple variations of it, including a spiderweb variation and a net variation. Something that I do want to make pretty clear though is that Cleave is used for objects with cursed energy, hence its ability to adjust itself accordingly. Though this is definitely going to be one of my longer videos, so I wanted to take a second to say, if you are enjoying this, please feel free to like and subscribe. We are trying to grow the channel, and every bit helps. We really appreciate you guys. Let's get back to the video. So this is definitely Sukuna's default slashing attack, and throughout the series we see him mostly use Dismantle. He was also able to help evolve it with the use of Maharaga's adaptions. So how does it work? Well, Dismantle is at its base a ranged slashing attack, normally reserved for inanimate objects such as walls and pillars. However, we have seen Sukuna use this technique to target Maharaga by positioning himself within a path of Dismantle. Interesting enough, this would be a precursor to what would eventually become Sukuna's world-cutting slash. Speaking of which, everyone's favorite uncle would eventually evolve Dismantle to something greater. It was during his fight with Gojo where Sukuna was able to use Maharaga's ability to adapt as a blueprint for his Dismantle technique. He needed a way around Gojo's infinity and found it by figuring out a way to target the world and the space an object occupies. This takes a tremendous amount of cursed energy to pull off and was Sukuna's trump card in his battle with Gojo, and it left Sukuna the victor. Sukuna's brain would be so damaged, however, that after this battle, he would need his true body to effectively pull off this technique, utilizing simultaneous chanting and hand signs. Uncle Creeper has Shrine, and Shrine has undergone several transformations in the series thanks in part to Gojo and Sukuna's historic battle that left the king with severe brain damage and unable to call upon his domain in the same way that he has always done. But let's go ahead and break down Shrine as we knew it, and then we'll circle back to this new version. Shrine as an ability is pretty amazing. It has the ability to be a barrierless expansion that creates a demonic shrine and allows for Sukunas to devastate an area with a barrage of Cleave and Dismantle. Nothing within its area of effectiveness is allowed to escape alive. Speaking of which, Sukuna has been able to turn his domain expansion into a barrierless one by using binding vows and, of course, unknown conditions, in which he allows an escape route for his target, but in return he gains an effective range of 200 meters. He has also been shown to be able to manipulate this range how he sees fit. During Gojo and Sukuna's fight, Sukuna did the unthinkable by pulling out Malevolent Shrine no less than 3 times, clashing with Gojo's Unlimited. He displayed impeccable technique and mastery by effortlessly changing Shrine's range and using binding vows to overall affect how Shrine would operate. However, Gojo was able to damage Sukuna's brain to the point that Sukuna was unable to summon his domain expansion, and it would stay this way until Sukuna was able to land a succession of black flashes, reviving his dead domain. This new form of Sukuna's Shrine is an even more grotesque version of the previous, with Sukuna having to use unknown binding vows, different hand signs, and the parts of his brain that weren't damaged to summon it. However, it still has the same effect range, and it still has the output of the original. So what's the drawback? Well, Sukuna was only able to keep this version of Shrine active for 90 seconds before it crumbled. This is a complete nerf from the original. So this is the big one. This is the one that as a community we debated about for years at this point. And to circle back to it, it's mostly because of John Weary's translations and Viz's approach to translating Sukuna's abilities. Because we as a community have had to theorize that Sukuna had cooking related abilities for years off of context and the way that his Cleave and Dismantle were explained in the manga. However, if we had a better translation, we would have known from the get-go that Sukuna's domain was always a cooking or chef themed one. But I'm gonna stop being a hater and let's go ahead and just break down Furnace. This is Sukuna's third and most powerful technique. Firstly, Gege has finally shown us the conditions for activating Fuga or Open or Furnace. It can only be activated after Sukuna has prepared his ingredients with Cleave and Dismantle. This is a massive revelation that came about in chapter 259. Secondly, for everyone's favorite creepy uncle, his flames actually lack relative speed and range despite their firepower, which is contradictory to the shape of an arrow, but I digress. So in order to combat this, of course, Sukuna has created yet another binding vow. Outside of his domain, the flames cannot target multiple people. This gave the flames their devastating power, so much that we saw that they instantly incinerated the unregistered special grade fire curse, Jogo. But of course, like everyone's creepy uncle at Easter, he found a way to circumvent this while fighting Yuji and the others. Sukuna has altered the way his domain works. He made it so that only living things were allowed entry into his domain, thus creating a nuke-like effectiveness. The devastation left by Sukuna is unreal. It should be noted, however, that although this is the same way Sukuna destroyed Maharaga according to the narrator, Todo was able to save everyone within Sukuna's domain using Boogie Woogie, and Yuji was saved despite being in the center of the explosion by Choso, sacrificing himself and creating a barrier for Yuji. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Sukuna is crazy powerful, and there are so many videos of people theorizing and breaking down his main curse technique. I just wanted to put it all down in one place. Now that Gege has given us exactly how everything works, of course this is not all of his abilities. If you'd like to see that in a later video, please just let me know. This is just Shrine and the subsets of Shrine. Alright guys, I'll see you next time, and if you enjoyed this video and would like to see breakdowns of more characters and their curse techniques, just let me know. Anyways, bye.